To give some perspective about why this is important, KVUE's Jenny Lee talked with an expert from the University of Texas.
Global policy expert Alan Cooperman joins us now. He's an associate professor at the LBJ School of Public Affairs. His expertise lies in military intervention. Thanks for joining us, Alan.
Thanks for having me.
You know, Alan, a lot happened today. President Putin ordered troops into 2 breakaway regions in Ukraine. Ukraine is preparing for conflict, and President Biden is readying sanctions. First, your reaction, and second, what can be done now to stop a conflict in Ukraine?
Well, I think that what Putin did was expected. It's actually quite minor of an incursion because Russian forces, Russian mercenaries have been in that tiny region of Ukraine, southeastern Ukraine, for 8 years. So it's not the biggest thing he could have done. It's basically the smallest thing he could have done. And the response from the United States and its European allies is modest sanctions. I don't think they're going to hurt Russia very much. And then the question is this the end of the crisis, or is this the beginning of the crisis?
Well, so Alan, what do you think? Is it the beginning or is it the end? I pose that question back to you.
So I have somewhat of a minority view. I think this is the end of the crisis for now. I think that what Putin wanted to make sure was that Ukraine did not join the Western military alliance, that Ukraine did not join NATO. And so he wanted to make sure he had a little foothold in Ukraine. And he's been trying for 8 years to get Ukraine to say, okay, this part of Ukraine is autonomous, it's Russian influenced, and that would have satisfied Putin. But Ukraine refused to do that. So finally, what Putin had to do was to recognize the independence of this little secessionist part of Ukraine and then send forces in as peacekeeping forces. And with that little foothold, he can ensure that Ukraine doesn't join NATO.
And so, Professor, why should Austinites and Texans care about this conflict? How does this conflict affect us all the way over here?
So it might not, but we're talking about the United States and Russia, who are the 2 countries with by far the largest nuclear arsenals on the planet. And in addition, there has not been a shooting war between U.S. forces and Russian forces ever. Not during the Cold War, not since the Cold War. But now you have Russian forces coming into Ukraine, U.S. forces going into Poland and other neighboring countries, and you have the potential, I don't think it's likely, but the potential for a war between the U.S. and Russia. And that has the potential for escalation into a nuclear war. Each of our countries has about 2,000 nuclear weapons, each of which is more than 10 times bigger than the Hiroshima bomb. So there could be potentially, with a nuclear war, great devastation. That would affect people in the United States and in Texas. But aside from that, there potentially could be some economic consequences from the sanctions. It's possible that energy prices could pop up a little bit here in Texas. But otherwise, I don't think that there's an immediate threat to economic or security interests of people in the U.S., people in Texas, or people here in Austin.
All right. Global policy expert Alan Cooperman, we certainly appreciate your time. We shall see what will happen. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.